Hello, how are you? I'm a little tired. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is August 21st, 2022. It's cloudy outside. It's on Sunday. Have you ever engaged in the volunteer activity? Have you ever engaged in volunteer activity? Have you ever been engaged in volunteer activity? Do you have the disaster management? Do you try to do everything with disaster management? Are you prepared in case of emergency with disaster management? I remember joining the evacuation drill when I was a elementary school student. I remember joining the drill when I was an elementary school student. The number of tourists to the museum halved due to the pandemic. The number of tourists to the museum halved. The sales figures of the company halved due to the corruption, after the corruption. My hard training halved my weight. The number of visitors to the supermarket halved. The number of visitors to the museum halved. The number of visitors to the museum halved. Halved. Don't have the number of the visitors to the museum by your corruption. Not let the number of visitors to the museum halved by your corruption. The amount of my saving halved since I retired. The amount of my saving halved since I retired. The amount of gas in my car halved since I left my house. The amount of the gas in my car halved since I left my house. The amount of gas, petroleum in my car halved. The number of employees in the company has been halved due to the recession. Bad sales figures. The number of employees in the company has been halved. The number of employees in the company has been halved. I halved the hours of my study because I was tired. I'm going to have the hours of my study today because I'm tired. I might have the hours of study today. The CEO of the company is going to have the employees, the number of employees. The limitation to the hall has been halved to prevent the infections. The limitation which is allowed to be housed in the hall has been halved. The number of visitors to the hall has been limited to prevent infection. I hope the commodity prices have. The curator of the museum is thinking of having the amount of visitors to the museum to prevent infection. The curator of the museum is thinking about having the number of visitors to the museum. The curator of the museum is thinking about limiting the number of visitors to the museum by having the amount, by having the number, by having the number. Perks were allocated to each participant. Each duty was allocated to each employee. You are a so-called genius. You are a so-called video game addict. I saw a cluster of deer on the way. I saw a cluster of raccoon on the way. I saw a cluster of deer on my way back from the mountain. On my way back from the mountain, I saw a cluster of deer. I don't like people clustering in front of shops or somewhere. I don't like to see people clustering in front of the entrance. People clustering in front of the entrance is very rude. Bad manners. And bothering other pedestrians from entering. I don't like those clustering at the entrance. As soon as the celebrity was detected, many pedestrians clustered around him. As soon as the celebrity was detected by the pedestrian, many pedestrians gathered around him, and which made the station panic. When the idol in disguise appeared and was detected by the pedestrian, more and more pedestrians clustered around him. The sudden show up of the celebrity at the station clustered many pedestrians. The advertisement by the famous celebrity clustered many shoppers in front of the store. Thus, the advertisement by the famous YouTuber, clustered many fans in the store. The festival is for sure will cluster many participants and customers, visitors. The festival will cluster many visitors. Mm. The smell from the house clustered stray dogs. The good smell, the dinner smell from the house clustered stray dogs. The senbei or cracker for the deer clustered many deer around the tourist. The senbei or the circle cracker for the deer clustered many deer around the tourist. A drop of sugar clustered many ants on the floor. Please do not drop anything on the floor to prevent ants from clustering. Please do not drop anything on the floor. Even if you drop anything on the floor, please wipe them out to prevent ants from clustering. The sudden turn-up of the celebrity clustered many pedestrians around her. The sudden turn-up of the celebrity clustered many pedestrians around her. Hmm. Many preventions are made to prevent a cluster right now, recently. Many strategies and preventions are conducted to prevent a cluster inside the facilities. The sudden show up of the celebrity clustered many pedestrians around him. The advertisement by the famous celebrity clustered many fans around the shop, rushing to buy the goods advertised by him. The advertisement of the goods by the very famous YouTuber clustered many fans in the stores, rushing in the stores. The sudden pandemic clustered many shoppers in the shop, rushing to buy masks. The sudden pandemic made the citizens rush to buy masks and toilet papers. The sudden pandemic made the citizens buy masks. The sudden pandemic made the citizens rush to buy the masks. The sudden firework displays clustered citizens in the locker. The sudden fireworks displays clustered the citizens, locals. The sudden fireworks display clustered the locals along the river. When the musician came out of the rear exit, the fans started to cluster there. When the musician came out of the rear exit, the fans clustered. The arrival of the police officers dispersed hooligans at the entrance of the store. The arrival of the ambulance dispersed car drivers. After the farewell party, we dispersed from the restaurant. The commuting time was dispersed into 3 parts to prevent and relieve the traffic congestion. The commuting time was dispersed into 3 parts to alleviate the traffic congestion. As soon as the forces arrived, the riot group dispersed. The commuting time has been dispersed into 3 parts to relieve the traffic congestion. The commuting time has been dispersed into two parts to relieve traffic congestion, to relieve congestion. When the pedestrians dispersed with the burst of hearing the explosions, the pedestrians dispersed with the burst of hearing the explosions. The pedestrians dispersed with the burst of hearing the explosions nearby. The pedestrians dispersed with the burst of hearing the explosions. As soon as the teacher appeared, the students who brought items which are not allowed to bring to the school dispersed. Before teacher arrived at the storehouse, the students disappeared. The students dispersed. We dispersed at the restaurant after the party. We dispersed at the restaurant after the party. We dispersed at the station after the party. We dispersed after the farewell party. We dispersed at the restaurant after the party. We dispersed at the restaurant after the party. We dispersed at the station after the party. The pedestrians dispersed with a burst of hearing explosions nearby. The venues were dispersed into 3 parts to make space. The examination venue was dispersed into 2 places to make space, to relieve the congestion. The examination venue was divided into 2 sections, 2 parts, 2 places, to alleviate the congestion. The examination venue was dispersed into 2 parts, 2 places, to relieve the congestion. When the police officers arrived, the hooligans dispersed. 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 The police officers dispersed hooligans. The police officers dispersed hooligans clustered at the entrance. The fog and mist blurred my vision. The fog and mist blurred my vision. The fog and mist blurred the driver's vision. The fog and mist blurred my vision. The explanation of the textbook made my understanding even more blurred. The explanation of the textbook made my understanding even more blurred. The explanation on the textbook made my understanding even more blurred. The explanation of the textbook made my understanding even more blurred. The explanation of the textbook made my understanding even more blurred. The fog and mist blurred my vision, driver's vision. The fog and mist blurred my vision. The newly discovered evidence blurred the hypothesis. The suspect tried to blur his story. The suspect tried to blur the accident by telling the made-up story, fabricated story. The suspect tried to blur the truth by telling the made-up story, fabricated story. The criminal tried to blur the truth by telling the fabricated story. The suspect tried to blur the truth. The suspect tried to blur the truth by telling the made-up story, false story. The suspect tried to blur the truth by telling the made-up story. The suspect tried to blur the truth by telling the fabricated story. Blur. The fog and mist blurred my vision. 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 Blur. If there is something different or changed, the notice will be sent to us. If there is something changes, if there are something changes, the notice will be sent to us. The store sent a notice to us. The company sent a notice to us. It won't until next month that the association sent a notice to us. It won't be until next month, but the association sent us notice to the examinees. It won't until tomorrow that the association sent the notice to the examinees. The ministry sent the notice to us a week ago, so it should have arrived now. It should arrive here now. The ministry sent a notice to the citizens who it may concern. So a week ago, so it should have been arrived to each houses. So it should have arrived now. So it should have already arrived. So it should have already arrived. It should have already arrived. So it should have already arrived. The ministry sent the notice to whom it may concern, to those whom it may concern. So a week ago, so it should have arrived already. It should have already arrived. It should have already arrived. Do you want to be promoted to the general manager in the future? Do you want to be promoted to a member of the directors? Do you want to be promoted to the associate president of the company? Do you want to be promoted to the general manager? Well, my colleague was promoted to the director general. The facility was converted into a convenience store. The facility was converted into a guest house. Do you have an annual event? My annual ritual or event is to study. My annual event was to take the examination, but I could pass it after 8 years. So one of my annual events finished. One of my favorite things to do when I travel is to watch the local news on TV at the hotel. One of my favorite things at the destination I go is to watch a local news on TV at the hotel. One of my favorite things to do in my trip is to watch the local TV on at the hotel. I cannot describe the current situation. It's beyond the reach of my imagination. It's beyond description. I cannot the situation right now. I cannot describe the situation where I am in now. It's beyond the description. I cannot describe the situation in which I am in now. I am now. I cannot describe the situation in which I am now. I cannot describe the situation where I am in now. It's beyond the reach of my explanation. The survey was conducted to know the opinion from the citizens. The survey was conducted to know the public opinions. The examinations are being conducted now. The examinations are being conducted now. The conduct of a business is not an easy task. The conduct of a business is not an easy task. The conduct of a business is not an easy task. The conduct of a business is not an easy task. The conduct of a business is not an easy task. The conduct of yours is not tolerable. The rude conduct of yours is not tolerable. The rude conduct of yours are intolerable. Intolerable. Thanks to the conduct from the concierge, I could reach my seat. I could get to my seat. The conduct of a company is not an easy task. The conduct of a company is not an easy task. The conduct of a company is not an easy task. The conduct of a shop or group is not an easy task. The conduct from the concierge is available 24 hours at the lobby of the hotel. Some of rude conducts of yours are not tolerable. They need to be fixed. They need to be fixed. They need fixing. They need fixing. They need to be fixed. They need fixing. My conduct was educated to be more polite. The conduct of students would be fixed at school in the preparation for entering the society. Some of your conducts are not tolerable. Some of your rude conducts are intolerable. 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 The conduct of a business is not an easy task. The conduct of a business is not an easy task. The conduct of a business is not an easy task. The conduct of a business is not an easy task. The conduct of a business is not an easy task. The conduct of a business is not an easy task. The conduct of a business is not an easy task. The conduct of a business is not an easy task. The conduct of a company is very difficult. The conduct of a company is not an easy task. The conduct of a business is very, very difficult. The management of a company is very difficult. The management of our mind can be difficult. The management of our feelings can be difficult. The management of the machine is very difficult because the machine is very delicate. It needs frequent maintenance. He is learning about the conduct of a business. He is learning about the management of a company. He is learning about the conduct of a business. He is learning about the conduct of a business. He is learning about the conduct of a business. He is learning about the conduct of a business. He is learning about the conduct of a business. Do you want to be a conductor? Do you want to be a conductor? Conductor. Do you want to be a conductor? Is there a conductor to give explanation or guidance at the facility for foreigners? Is there a conductor who can speak English in the facility? Is there a conductor who can speak English and give guide and give explanations in English about the tourist spots around the area? Is there a conductor who can speak English and give advices to foreign customers, tourists, in the facility? The conductor bowed to the audience once before playing the piece. The conductor bowed to the audience before starting the music, before starting the piece. The conductor bowed and greeted to the audience before starting the music. Conductor. Do you want to be a conductor? 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 The conductor came to us to check my tickets. The conductor came to us to check my ticket. Would you like to be a conductor? Would you like to be a conductor? The conductor smiled at the players to calm them down. The conductor smiled at the players to calm them down. The conductor smiled at the players to calm them down. The conductor smiled at the players to calm them down. The conductor smiled at the players to calm them down. Conductor. Conductor. Is there a conductor who can speak English and give information about the tourist spots around the area in the facility? Is there a conductor who can speak English and give information to foreign tourists around the area, 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 around the area? Is there a conductor who can speak English and give information for tourists from all over the world, from foreign countries? Conductor, 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 conductor. Are you realistic? Is it realistic to have a Lamborghini? Is it realistic to own a car flying in the sky? Is it realistic for us to be able to ride on a flying car? Is it realistic to teleport? 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 Teleport. Is it realistic to teleport? He believes in only realistic things. He believes in only realistic things. Realistic things. Realistic things. He believes in only realistic things. Realistic things. Let's work on realistic things. You winning the prize is realistic. You entering the university is realistic. Passing the examination is really realistic for you. Realistic. Is it realistic for us to be able to own a flying car in the future? Is it realistic for me to be a billionaire? Is it realistic for me to be a billionaire with the earnings from YouTube? Is it realistic? Is it realistic for me to be able to a billionaire by the earnings from YouTube videos? Is it realistic or not? This is the real music. This is real watch, not imitation. Can you tell the real ones from imitation ones? Can you tell the genuine from imitations? Can you tell imitation from real ones? Real ones. Really? Yes. The hypothesis might work in theory, but might not work in reality. I was often told to look at reality. The opposition of reality is the ideal. Reality. What you said might work in theory, but might not work in reality. The reality is very harder than I expected. The reality is usually harder than we have expected. The reality is usually different from what we expected. The reality is usually different from what we have expected. Are you a realist? Realist. Are you a realist? Are you a realist? Are you a realist who don't believe myths? Are you a realist? A realist. A realist. A realist. 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 Are you a realist? Are you a realist who don't believe in myth or something with no basis in evidence, with no basis on evidence? Are you a realist who don't believe in myth or something not based on evidence? Realist. Fiscal year starts from April in Japan. Fiscal year starts in April in Japan. I got a letter of introduction to the hospital from my family doctor because my disease worsened. I got a letter of introduction to the bigger hospital, the inclusive hospital, because my disease got worse and I need more extensive treatment, which the clinic cannot treat. I got a letter of introduction to the inclusive hospital by my doctor from the clinic because my disease worsened and the disease cannot be treated in the clinic. So I will get more intensive, cutting-edge, state-of-the-art technology, state-of-the-art treatment from the hospital to eradicate my disease. Due to sakoku or isolation policy of the government, the introduction of new technologies delayed. But on the other hand, thanks to sakoku, which helped Japanese unique cultures to flourish. I bought a textbook as introduction into the subject because I'm beginner. I just wanted to see how it is like. The company is thinking of the introduction of new machine to make the production more efficient. The company is thinking of the introduction of new machine to make the production more efficient, The company is thinking of adding more machines to make the production more efficient. The company is thinking of the introduction of new machines, a couple of new machines, to make the production more efficient. Let me introduce myself. I have 15 minutes as for my introduction. I got 15 minutes for my introduction at the speech. The rest of 45 minutes, the rest of 1 hour, meaning 45 minutes, my speech. Let me introduce myself. I'd like to introduce my friends to you. Who will help with your Spanish. I'd like to introduce my Spanish friend who will help you with your Spanish. I introduce myself for 15 minutes at the introductory section, introductory corner. I'm looking for an introductory textbook which is explained easy for beginners. I'm looking for an introductory textbook which is concisely written for beginners. I'm looking for an introductory textbook which is written concisely for beginners. I'm looking for an introductory textbook which is concisely written for beginners. I'm looking for an introductory textbook which is concisely written for beginners. I'm looking for an introductory textbook which is concisely written for beginners. I am looking for an introductory textbook which is written concisely for beginners. Which books do you recommend? Because there are many options to choose, so I cannot choose. So, from your perspective, and as a specialist of books, which books do you recommend that I should buy? From your perspective and as the specialist of books, which textbooks do you recommend that I buy? This one. Introductory. 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 I have got 15 minutes for the introduction. My introductory time is 15 minutes. Each participant has 15 minutes introductory time. Introductory time of 15 minutes. Introductory time. Each participant has 15 minutes of introduction. Fifteen-minute introductory time. Introductory. I talked about my research at the university at the introductory corner, introductory time. I talked a little bit about my research at the university at the introductory time. I talked a little bit about my research report which I wrote at the university at the introductory corner, introductory time, introductory, 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 introductory. Introductory, 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 introductory. Introductory. My profile picture and one page of sentences were put on the introductory corner of the book. My profile picture and my biography was put on the page, on the introductory page. Introductory, introductory. I haven't got the introductory letter. I got the letter of introduction. I've got the introductory letter from my doctor to the extensive inclusive hospital. I have 15 minutes for my introduction. I've got 15 minutes for my introduction. My introductory time is 15 minutes. Each participant has 15 minutes as introductory time. For introductory time, introductory, 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 introductory. This course is for introduction. This session is for introductory level. There are many introductive books. So I cannot choose which one I should buy. Introductory, introductory, introductory. I've got 15 minutes as the introductory time. I've talked about a little bit about my research at the introductory corner, introductory time, introductory time, introductory time. A few decades have been passed since I graduated from my kindergarten. A decade equals to 10 years. 2 decades equals 20 years. How many decades are needed to master the language? There is no way to master a language. It's endless. Learning a language is endless. My lack of experience resulted in making many mistakes. A lack of sleep resulted in making many mistakes on the examination. Its endless effort resulted in winning the Nobel Prize. His endless effort resulted in getting the Nobel Prize. The mistake results from his negligence. Many accidents will result from their negligence. Some accidents will result from a lack of preparation. Some accidents will result from a lack of experience or preparation. The car accident resulted from being distracted by the beautiful landscape of the beach. The car accident resulted from the car driver distracted by the beautiful beaches along the way. The car accident resulted from the driver's sleeping. The car accident resulted from the driver's drowsiness. The exam result resulted from my lack of study, my want of study. I hope my endless effort will result in being accepted at the ministry. His success resulted from his endless effort, never stopped policy. His success results from his endless effort and never stop policy. It won't until next year or next month that the exam result is announced. It won't until tomorrow. It won't be until tomorrow that the exam result is released, announced. The firefighters entered the blaze to put them out. The firefighters are putting out the blaze from the burning houses. The firefighters are putting away the blaze from the house. The firefighters are discharging water to the burning house, blazing house. The firefighters is discharging water to the blazing house. The firefighters are putting out the blaze. The firefighters are extinguishing 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 the blaze. The firefighters are putting out the blaze. I saw a building blazing up. I saw a building blazing up. I have never seen my boss blazing up like today. It's my first time. I haven't seen my boss blazing up like today. It's my first time. I think it can be said to others too. I think even other employees was the first time to see him blazing up like today. The building is blazing up. The firefighters are putting away the blazes blazing up from the house. The blazing up house was extinguished by the firefighters. The building was blazing up so high. It was even recognizable from my house. The building was blazing up so high. It was even recognizable from my place. What do you think of tax? Some people move to a tax haven to avoid paying higher taxes. Some people move to a tax haven to avoid paying higher taxes. Today, many things are taxed. Many things are taxed. Almost everything is taxed. Almost everything is taxed. Almost everything is taxed. Today, almost everything is taxed. Almost everything is taxed. Today, almost everything is taxed. The imported goods are also taxed. The exported goods are also taxed. The duty-free shop, the goods sold at the duty-free shop is not taxed. The goods or merchandise sold at the duty-free shop are not taxed. Many things are taxed. Can you name the things which are not taxed? Can you name the things which are not taxed? Can you name the things which are not taxed? The goods sold at the duty-free shop are not taxed. I remember buying some souvenirs at the duty-free shops after going out of the country, after getting stamp on my passport. There were some duty-free shops on the arrival gate, so I bought some souvenirs which were not taxed. Many things are taxed. Almost everything is taxed. What are the things which are not taxed? Can you name those which are not taxed? Consumption tax bothers me a lot. Consumption tax bothers me a lot. Consumption tax was increased from 8 to 10% in 2019 in Japan. But there are some exceptions to some goods, especially some food. But mostly Usually, the tax was increased from 8 to 10, with some exceptions. Some food are still with 8%. What do you think of taxation? Taxation. Some rich people move to tax havens to avoid higher taxations. Higher taxation. Some rich people move to a tax haven to avoid paying higher taxation. 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 What do you think of taxation? Some rich people move to a tax haven to avoid paying higher taxation. 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 I went to the prefectural office to register my qualification, to register as a national government licensed guide interpreter. Prefectural office. I ate lunch at the prefectural office. I ate lunch at the prefectural office. Prefectural office. Have you been to the prefectural office? Have you ever been to the prefectural office? Prefectural government. Prefectural office. Prefectural office. Prefectural office. The prefectural office has some rights to conduct without the permission from the central government. The prefectural office has some rights to be able to conduct without permission from the central government, but it is limited. Prefectural. I went to the prefectural office to register. I went to the prefectural office to submit the application form. I went to the prefectural office to submit the application form to register as a national government licensed guide interpreter. I went to the prefectural office to submit the required documents and application forms and so on to register as a national government licensed guide interpreter. There are 47 prefectures in Japan. The capital of Japan is Tokyo. Which prefecture do you prefer to live in the future? Which prefecture do you live in now? And do you want to live to another prefecture in the future to have the second life after your retirement maybe? Or do you keep living in the same prefecture as you live now? Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.